right?
And okay, so we should have everybody in now. And more will join us soon. So just a quick introduction to everybody. This is Jeetinder. He was a sort of an ex-student of mine many years ago. Well, we'll say many years ago, not many. And has gone on to sort of create his own brand. And it's taken quite a journey to really instill his vision into his products and get to a point where I think his personality is starting to come through within his brand. And I guess what would be nice from you, Jeetinder, is if you could just give us a little bit of a roadmap and a bit of a background story about you, your product, and like we were just talking about, like your target audience and where your products are going now forwards.
Surely. Hi, Patrick, and so nice to finally reconnect with you after almost a decade now. So hi guys, I'm Jeetinder Sandhu. I am an accessories designer based out of New Delhi in India. We make bespoke shoes and accessories. All our products are made on order. So that gives us a lot of possibilities to be very creative and also work with the clients very personally. So we can also incorporate a lot of their requirements into our products. But as a brand, I think I would say that we are a bit of India meets the West in a way, because of course I have been brought up in India and I've traveled extensively in many different parts. If anyone of you is aware of India as a country, it's extremely rich in its cultural heritage and the arts and crafts. We have beautiful textiles and beautiful art forms that are abundantly available from many different parts. So even if you travel from here to say about 50 kilometers or 100 kilometers or 100 miles away, the flavors change, the colors change, the art forms change. So I have been blessed enough to experience these different art forms, and it has very strongly affected and it's been a very strong part of my design language. It plays, I draw a lot of inspiration from it. I think having been brought up with these objects and artifacts as a kid was a very strong part of my upbringing, and even now today, what I'm doing in my product offering. So I started my career 10 years ago in 2013 in London as a menswear designer. I was based out of London for a couple of years, working from there, but all my production was based in India. And I did that for about 2 years with garments. And then I think it automatically transitioned to footwear, because I was having to do, I was doing fashion shows in Europe at that point, and I would have to source footwear to fit the fashion shows I was doing in different countries. And I thought, why not try and experiment with footwear myself? And in India, we are blessed enough to have local shoe cobblers who are very abundantly available. And I thought, why not give it a try? And these are people who have been doing this generations. So, the grandfather was making shoes, and the son was making shoes, and the grandchild is making shoes. So it's a trade that's been passed on through generations. And I was lucky enough to find a shoe cobbler who was actually sitting at a roadside corner in peak heat. And summers in India can be very, very hot. This is 2015 when I actually did the first collection of shoes, and I sat down with the guy with the shoe cobbler, and gave him my designs, and I asked him to make it for me. And I absolutely fell in love with the process of handmade shoes and the fact that I could actually practically see it being made in front of me was even more special and beautiful. So, and I got a very good response economically as well from the market. And the response is great. So I decided, since I like this so much, I decided to pursue it. And since 2015, we've been only making shoes. We were only doing men's shoes for the first half of the start of the journey. And then over the years, we were getting a lot of requests from women and from other people. They were requesting for shoes. And at that point, we were only doing men's shoes. So I decided, why not? Let's try and, uh, you know, experiment with women's footwear as well. And then from there on, we started to make footwear for everyone. So now, as of today, we make shoes for all genders. And any product that you want to pick from our catalog is actually gender fluid. So we can make it for a man, we can make it for a woman, and we do not discriminate. So anyone and everyone is welcome to try and wear our products. So that's a little bit about how we came to where we are today. And at the moment, we are operating out of New Delhi in India. And all our products, like I said, are made to order. So a customer places an order with us, and then we make it. And they can be anywhere in the world, and we ship it to them within 2 to 3 weeks. So that's also how we operate. And we are now trying to expand our offerings. So along with footwear, we're also trying to get into leather jewelry. So, bangles like these. We're trying to combine leather and metal, and just trying to see and experiment with other options and products that we can work with leather. And yeah, Patrick, anything you want to say or ask?
No, I guess everyone will have questions in a minute. I've got a lookbook, I guess, that I could show, and I'm just going to open up the PDF that I'd shared with you. So let's just have a quick whiz through. Let me find this lookbook. And if anyone has any questions for Jeetinder, please feel free to either put them in the chat, or I'll unmute you so you can ask any questions. So feel free to jump in while I'm opening up this document. But I guess from my side, Jeetinder, it's whenever I've seen your shoes, they feel genderless anyway. So ever since the beginning, and when you see designers like Marc Jacobs and people like that who really play about with footwear and accessories, he really enables people to be quite comfortable about fashion. So I think there's great ambassadors for sort of gender fluid shoes, footwear. And I think we're in an age of where we've been through the power suits and we've been through all these different looks, where now, especially footwear, when you go into shops, a lot of them, like I always preferred women's shoes anyway. So, if I was to buy trainers or footwear, I always thought the women's colors were more interesting than the men's. And I guess it's probably the same. Women prefer the men's colors; they're a bit more darker. I prefer the more brighter shoes. So I'm just going to open up your.
May I just say something, Patrick?
Yes, fire away.
Jeetinder, congratulations, first of all. I've looked at the PDF the lookbook that Patrick is hunting, and I was really impressed. Loved the actual shape of the sole of your shoe. I think it's really sculptural. And when you were talking about gender fluidity, one of the thoughts that came to my mind is when you actually see people's footprint in the sands going down a beach, feet are gender fluid. We just impose gender norms in inverted commas upon them. So I think you're onto a fantastic idea about talking about footwear, feet in general, and I love the idea of your jewelry and pushing forward into your accessories. Well done.
Thank you, Patricia. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so hopefully you can see the PDF on the page.
Yes.
And these were some quick illustrations we put together for you. Just thinking about bright colors and playfulness. And then yeah, so I guess an interesting thing that's happened recently is we've become a media partner with Fashion United. So that's quite good from a press point of view. So they'll promote and discuss lots of our projects going forward. So this is quite good for the people on the members and people like that. So that was great news that happened recently. I think I need to change this URL. You've got a new one coming up.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're coming up with a new website, so you can easily buy shoes online.
Okay, so I'll update that, but they can access this anyway at the moment. This is
Yes,
a brief biography about you and about your process, and you can go online and see some of Jeetinder's fashion shows and pieces that he's done. I'm also going to put the lookbook that Jeetinder sent me and some 360 animations he's done of his shoes, so you've got some sort of content. But then there's the brief to create. So I with you have put a brief together, but from listening to you and kind of thinking about your ideas and what you're saying is if you were to commission an artist, an illustrator to capture your product, because we're in the moment of products being visualized mainly by photography. What advice would you give creatives to illustrate your product that could really capture the essence of what you would do if you were to commission an artist to capture your collection? Is there any advice you could give?
I think for us as a brand, Jeetinder Sandhu has we've never limited ourselves. We've always believed that let's try and experiment and create something new. So be it any shoe that you pick up from our archive or catalog, it has a sense of uniqueness. It has a sense of being something different and new, especially. I think especially we work a lot with different shapes, like Patricia mentioned. We try and work with, architecture, be it textiles, be it colors, be it even new shapes. That's a very strong part of us whenever we create a product. So that's, I would say, the first and most important thing is to be experimental. And of course, I think we as a brand also collaborate with a lot of other designers and other brands. So I think when it comes to collaborations and working with other people, I always believe that you have to bring in your own sense of style and aesthetic and your design language to the board. And that's truly when you can call it a collaboration. When it comes to commissioning an art piece, like we're trying to do for this project in brief, I would say it would be interesting to see what the participants can bring from their own design language and interpret our designs and present something to us.
Yeah, good. So, yeah. And I'll get to the lookbook. So in case they have any questions on lookbook. So I guess for me, there's all these sort of poppy colors. There's very graphic shapes. There's some really nice, interesting compositions in the book.
We're actually, as a brand, known to be, I was tagged as the blinky shoe designer a couple of years ago by a local publication in India. Because I actually worked with
proud.
Extremely proud of it. I think it's something that I'm very proud of it, and I've owned it, embraced it. I personally have a personality that is very bold and loud anyways. So my products are, of course, an extension of who I am as a person. And so we work with a lot of metallic materials. We work with a lot of chrome. We'll work with a lot of really loud colors as well. So be it, textiles that I have sourced from Africa or from India, different parts of India, I usually tend to gravitate towards a lot of color personally. So we try to incorporate that into our product as well. Yeah.
Is it a seasonal product, Jeetinder?
No, we actually don't work by season.
So
we
it's
work-
to brief for customer bespoke.
Yes. So
Yeah.
there are two lines to how we operate. One is, of course, we come up with designs every month. So we do about 2 to 3 designs from our catalog that come out every month. And then we also work on commission with a lot of our clients. So what they can do is either they pick up a product that is already there and then they can customize it to the color or the materials that they wish to work with. Or we can also sit with them one-on-one and create a product entirely from scratch. And that's when we get to work a lot with brides and grooms because they want something special for their special day. And in India, the wedding market is a huge market for us.
Yeah.
So we get to work with them very personally and one-on-one and create something entirely bespoke. But coming back to the catalog for the Sandhu, we don't work season-wise. We work per piece. So every piece has its own story, has its own, design and color story and references. So each style has its own story going on.
Yeah.
And we've stopped working by season because we noticed that for us, it was way more exciting to work per piece. It was getting very restrictive if you work by season. So being it my own brand, I realized that this was making sense for us on how we work. So we decided to continue with that.
And when we look at these pieces, Jeetinder, are they sort of chronological or they just put together how you felt about it, or like are these the most recent, or how did you like get to different points?
These are not chronological, but these are sort of in a way sort of put together into certain families. So you have, of course, the chrome family. So you have a lot of bling, and these are then you have shoes which have patterns that are layered on top of each other, and they are entirely without any stitch. So if you can just go back one slide ahead, this one on the left, it's the one you see is actually inspired by a very classic shoe. But what we've done is we've layered the different layers of leather, and they
colors are great.
Thank you. And there's no stitch in them, so you can actually see that they're actually just stacked on top of each other. Similar for the one on, if you go back another slide.
This one.
This one again. So the flame doesn't have any stitch on it.
So it's glued on, is it?
There's only a stitch at the top line. That's it. So where the actual flame is, there is no stitch. You can actually lift that panel up. Yeah, you can actually lift the panel up from the shoe, but it's stitched on the top line. So that's how it's actually staying in place. Yeah.
That's very interesting. Yeah.
And
thank you.
These shoes obviously are the very bling shoes. Who's the sort of customer wearing these shoes?
Interestingly, a lot of these are actually one of our hottest sellers.
Yeah.
We actually sell a lot of these every month. At the moment, we're only offering 3 colors. So we have red, pinks, and gunmetal, which is like a very dark gray. The customers are everyone from graphic designers to celebrities, actors, celebrity chefs. We work a lot with people from the creative industry. I think that's really like one of our strongest target groups. But I think we're also now, people are trying to be a little more experimental, especially in India. As a market, they want to try out something new. They want to try out something different. So whenever they see a celebrity wearing a shoe, as it just automatically, they sort of get excited and they want to try it themselves. So I think the audience for this is growing definitely, but I would say creatives are definitely our strongest sort of
customer profile. Yeah.
And did you notice a big up push since Dior came to India, and with business of fashion, with Imran, there seems to be a bit of a booming moment for India and Indian designers.
Yes, definitely. I think not just, I mean, definitely with Dior, of course, but I think India has been at the forefront of everyone's sort of vision, and people are coming back, people who had migrated from India and had sort of moved their bases abroad, be it the UK, be it Canada, be it the US, not just in design, but also other industries. They're all sort of moving back to India because India is the place to be right now. It's a great market. And of course, like you mentioned, with Dior doing their show in Mumbai, with Imran doing such extensive coverage of Indian fashion on his platform, we're really at the forefront right now. And it's, of course, helped people like me and designers and brands like Jeetinder to sort of go a little more global and reach wider audiences.
Yeah, it's good because there's lots of I don't know if you know Nikhil, who was the stylist from Malangoni, who's the partner of Imran. And,
Yes.
I remember him coming to London and speaking about how India was really going to start changing and becoming, because even when you were a young creative, it still wasn't getting there. It wasn't becoming on the forefront. And I think only in the last 5 years, it's really starting to become much more commercial. It's really being pumped. And I feel now that they're being respected and being appreciated for the craftsmanship, rather than just a country that makes stuff for other people. They're actually being respected in a whole different realm. So I think it's a great time to be an Indian designer and really being a creative who will be respected. So, I've always followed what you've done, and I was always kind of, with Adrian from, Graduate Fashion Week and all your sort of friends that you've kept in contact with, and just watching your sort of brand slowly grow and you finding your voice. I think now you've got to a good point now where I think your voice is strong, and now it's a case of you getting really out there. And I feel that I feel I'm lucky to have seen that journey and also get into a bit of a project with your brand before we won't get that opportunity. Because I think there'll be a moment now, a big shift. I feel that you've got a lovely little set of objects, because I've seen it with Yousefi as well. The designer who does the handbags. She's really boomed in the UK and globally. To see these young designers really change and become big. So hopefully for you, we'll have a different conversation next time, that we won't be able to get you because you'll be fully booked. But I definitely feel that there's a real flavor for what you're doing and these products. And I love these other shoes. It reminds me of you, like that little cheeky but elegant shoes. And like, there's a lot of tradition behind these shoes as well. So I think there's a kind of a real history, and you've added that really glitzy twist to it. So I feel they resonate your personality from me knowing you. And I don't know if anybody else has said that.
Thank you so much, Patrick, for that. Very kind words. But I have always believed that whatever I do and create has to truly reflect my personality, my taste, and my likings. And as you said, I think you said that you can see myself in the shoes that I made is a very nice compliment. And yeah, I think it's just this amalgamation of my personal side into the product is what I'm very happy and proud of to put out there. So
yeah,
very excited. And of course, I will always have time for you, Patrick. So no matter what happens, very happy to have a conversation with you. And of course, very lucky to have partnered with Fida to do this amazing project. Very excited.
Yeah.
There seems to be kind of a visual theme going through, not for the pieces I spoke about with the very architectural soul on the shoes. But
Yeah.
looking at some of these, it's kind of like a traditional brogue or loafer, goes on holiday to India and comes back and is never the same again.
Exactly, you summed that up very well. So I think, like again, I said like my journey with shoes was how it started was with a traditional craftsman who actually was a cobbler who made shoes. So this guy only makes very classic shoes. So
Yeah,
that's how the journey started, and that's why classic shoes are very strong, are very strongly reflected in my designs.
yeah,
But what I try to do is sort of bring my taste and my aesthetic
yeah.
to this very classic product and offer something new.
And
So
are the pieces with the pattern, is that fabric, Jeetinder?
yes, I actually work with a lot of textiles as well. I personally travel a lot, not just within India, but also globally. And I have I would say, a habit of hoarding fabric. So whenever I usually travel, I just collect from, the local shops and local handlooms. So I source these fabrics and I only then come back here and then create shoes from them. So
You
what
have a
happens?
stash, a
It's more than a
secret
stash.
stash,
It's
a
more than a
treasure
stash.
hoard.
It's
Yeah.
actually a little. It's like a little room that I have running out of space. So what we do is we actually use these textiles and create shoes from. So the one
Yeah,
you see
lovely.
in the image is actually an ikat fabric. It's a cotton.
Yeah.
And what we do is, since everything is made to order and bespoke, our quantities are also very small when it comes to batches and how much we can produce. So once the fabric runs out, that design will
That's
never come out.
that's that. Yeah. Limited
And
edition. Yeah.
exactly. And also a lot of the times, I get these fabrics that don't even match. So it's probably one tapestry, for example, which has hand embroidery on it.
Yeah.
So we can only create maybe say 5 to 6 pairs, and no two pairs are also similar. So it's that extra sense of uniqueness and being something personal to yourself. Yeah.
So with the variety and allied with the A kind of very, very limited edition, right? And B kind of uniqueness of your pieces. If you're talking to an illustrator, you're not looking, how would you advise me, to approach such a diverse, unique palette of product? You know what I mean? There's not a signature. The signature look is your taste.
Yes.
Mm.
I think I would say a bit of research, of course, helps. I think given the pointers that I've given today, such as the textiles that I work with within India, the colors, that's where I would say the illustrator will be able to meet us and understand what we're trying to ask for. And I think if in terms of the shapes, I think we have very pronounced and very defined shapes. So they can definitely reference that whenever they are creating an illustration. But feel free to experiment and, of course, bring your own taste to the table. I would love to see and understand what their, how they understand the product and how they see this. It would be interesting.
And do you know the architectural souled shoe, if I can put it that way? I'm not sure how else to describe it. The orange one with the very defined that one. Yeah. That soul of it, I think it's wonderful. I love it. To me, the word sculptural and architectural comes to mind, as opposed to textile stroke color. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So when I took your brogues off to India for that wonderful holiday, and they were changed utterly, this seemed to be a different story, is it?
It is a different story, but again, it is strongly inspired and referenced with Indian architecture.
Right.
The
Okay.
shapes that you see are actually inspired by, Indian
Yeah.
architecture and heritage that you see in and around Delhi. There's so many uh, really old sites in and
Yeah.
around Delhi that have inspired this very rigid and structured shape that you see.
Mm.
So you see, I mean, yes, visually it looks different from, of course, the
Well,
brocade.
it's the soul. It's the soul. It's the profile of the soul and the extension of the soul. If I eliminate that and just look at the shoe part, it's actually, as you say, nearly quite classical.
Yeah. It's mixing of this old and new,
Mm.
especially with the sole that you're saying. The platform is
I love it. Mm.
super light and it's super it's very techy in that sense of, it's
Yeah.
very lightweight. The customer has to be
Like
comfortable, of
it's
course.
like contemporary architecture in some ways, isn't it?
So we tried to keep our roots and heritage.
Yeah.
Indian.
Yeah. Well, it's like Ireland. I'm from Ireland, and it's like, I'm sure you can't tell with this accent, but anyway, but it's like that whole thing of the Irish moving into contemporary architecture, but holding on to some of the Celtic roots.
And I've always, like I said, believed that, and I always strive to achieve that. Even I want to continue with this sort of this Indian element in all my products, very strong, and maybe hints of it also, maybe if I may say this, but it has to be present. But also at the
Yes.
same time, I consider myself to be also a global citizen. I mean, we all
Yes.
travel all around the world, and this aspect of something that is edgy, that's something modern, that's something that you can wear currently and not look too
Yeah.
traditional, has to also strongly be a part of my design language. So it's just this marriage of the two, I feel, is critical for me.
Yeah.
Do you think you would do an array of colors of these shoes as well, like color options, or
Yes,
like what
we've
makes you
actually,
decide to make one shoe shiny where this is more of a matte but with a block color? What makes you make them decisions?
I'm a very visual person, so whenever I like I said, I do a sourcing myself. So if I go to the leather tannery or the leather shops, I think I usually let the colors do the talking and sort of the attraction for me.
Yeah.
But yes, we've done an array of colors in these. We've done blues. We've done even so. A lot of our customers have had these pieces commissioned. So they come to us and they say, okay, I want to make this in a red or a blue, and I want an East Pine blue. So we have to go source that color or get that color made for them. So again, the options are limitless, but for me, I always usually tend to gravitate towards very bright, poppy, and very attractive colors for me. Especially like this orange is so unique and different.
Absolutely. It's very spiced color, isn't it?
Exactly. It's almost like the color of, in a way, of turmeric.
Yes,
Again,
I was just thinking that. Yeah. It's like a spice market imagery. Yeah.
exactly. So see, again, like there's so many hints of my culture in the shoe, but yet it's still very
it's hugely commercial, contemporary, and commercial.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, good. And any advice for environment, because you were talking about global citizen, like a nomad. Because I was talking about maybe them being within a scene, or could they be within an environment, or could they be within a graphic abstract space? I guess as a little hint is this idea of that the wearer could be quite nomadic and travel globally like yourself and be inspired by different countries, different cultures. So they're kind of like these shoes that could go anywhere. And, you could look at brutalist shapes. You could look at all these sort of graphic abstract paintings. Lots of things come to mind when we look at these. So, and I also like the picture on the right, which has these sort of very hard graphic shoe with the patterned. And I think that's quite an important thing to look on is the wearer is a very sort of
Eclectic, yeah.
yes, eclectic wearer. So you were talking
And the
about
contrast
the
between
architect.
that teal blue with the orange is gorgeous.
Yeah, so I think all of these things are really coming into play. Is the consumer could be a really bright with an embroidered suit, or they could be plain. I think that's where the interplay can happen, is the actual wearer, and then the sort of feet in the air means that they're quite playful.
Nice attitude, yeah, cool
the attitude. So
yeah.
all of these reference points for all of you when you're looking at how you're going to set up your composition. There's lots of tips and triggers within this lookbook. So I'm going to share this lookbook online so you can have a look at it. And we've got some like 360 videos as well. I'll see if I can.
And is the brief to illustrate the existing product as is? I mean, obviously in a creative way, but illustrate the existing shoes that are in the range.
Yes, don't reinvent. You're not here to design a new shoe. It's to illustrate an advertisement that could be used to promote the products that already exist.
That exist in this lookbook.
Yes, in this lookbook.
Even though the deadline is July.
Even though the deadline's in July, no invention of new shoes.
No, I'm not going to design shoes, but I was just thinking, because it's continuously answering unique commissions, you know, be nice to have a look at some of the unique commissions too.
If Jeetinder's willing to share any, that could be quite nice.
Yep.
Sorry, Jeetinder, I'm not, I'm just kind of, the questions are coming into my mind and they're coming out my mouth.
Yeah, so if you've got any images, Jeetinder, of some of the shoes that you've made that have been unique or bespoke that you'd like to share, just share them on a drive, and then I can share them with everybody.
Yeah.
They can have a look through. And also, can you? I don't know if you've put them online yet. Your new jewelry, are they up online? Your new accessories. Sorry.
No, they're not online yet, but I
They
can
will be
share.
though.
Well, I can share that. Yes.
Okay, so maybe share some new things, because that would be able to be shared after in July.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
You think is
kind of
okay
forward proofing the illustration, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Good.
Yeah.
Any other questions from anybody, or
I'm going to.
are we all okay?
I'm stopping now. No need for the applause.
Yeah, I think everyone's got a recording of this, Jeetinder. But you know, thanks for your time, and I'm going to share the little 360 videos that you sent me as well, with the lookbook. But I think the lookbook encapsulates nearly everything anyway, and your website has got everything as well. Is that correct?
Correct.
Brilliant.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeetinder.
Thank you.
Have a good day, and I'll speak to you soon. And it's lovely to see you.
Thank you so much, and likewise.
Thank you.
Bye. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, Patricia. Thanks.